thought it was over. You count them out twice, maybe more, but you forgot the rule of the ring. Never count out Levi Blue. The devil's own reflection is back. Yeah, I feel that shake in the air. That's not fear, that's return. That's lessons learned. Welcome once again to the Sorry Pal podcast. I am your host. They call me the Devil's Own Reflection, the pretty boy redneck Levi Blue, coming to you live from my front porch. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the show where I warn you it is 30 minutes of your life you're never, ever gonna get back, and I do not have any problem taking that 30 minutes of your life away from you, because if I could just help one person, if one person takes one piece of my advice and uses it in their everyday, if one person uses my advice and uses it in their wrestling career, if a person gives me a question and I give them the answer that they so desperately need, then my job is done here. Again, I'm not asking you to like, share, and subscribe. I just appreciate you being here. If you want to do that, if you want to do the like, share, and subscribe thing, that is on your own. I am not here to beg for your attention. I am here to simply be on the microphone, speak my mind, and enjoy doing what I so want to do. And that is to spend these next 30 minutes with you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about something that happened this past weekend. Something that happened in Fenton, Michigan. All Class Independent Wrestling was at the Ninja Gym. Actually, the place is called The Last Level in Fenton, Michigan. I wasn't there. I couldn't tell you what a single match was. Well, actually, I could, but I implore you to go check out their Facebook page, All Class Independent Wrestling. On Facebook, look for Real G Money. If you can't find the page, he will direct you in the right direction. But let me tell you something when it comes to All Class Wrestling. Their name isn't just a name, it's their attitude. Because my son who actually works at the Last Level in Fenton, Michigan, attended their show. And my son, I've never really smartened up to the business as to what the etiquette is when you go to a show, especially since he never really wanted to be a part of the business. He had said in passing a couple times that he wanted to be a professional wrestler. When he walked me out to the ring, when I was being inducted into the XICW Hall of Fame, he told me that he wanted to be a professional wrestler. So I thought this was going to be a path for him, and instead he joined the U.S. military, where over this past year he has been in Iran and taking care of business over there. Couldn't be more proud of my son. Well, as I was saying, All Class Wrestling, All Class Independent. If you're hearing noises in the background, I am recording during a thunderstorm, which I think is pretty great. It's not 1,000 degrees out, and I like storms. It helps me sleep. Probably after I get done with the show, I'll probably be going straight for a nap because I'm old and I like naps. Naps are required in my life. But as I was saying, my son works at this building, and he grew up with, a few of the wrestlers that were on this show. Well, probably more than a few, but he doesn't remember a lot of them because, in fact, when he was younger, when I was taking him to every wrestling show that I was on, he eventually got burned out from professional wrestling. When he saw his dad become a bloody wreck one too many times from wrestling in death matches, my son got burned out from wrestling along with my daughter, so I stopped taking them to shows. But he knew the DBA, he knew Caden Monroe, he knew MM3, he knew the Dread King Logan. So, I told him to have a good time. I had to work, I couldn't make it to a show with him. He got there not knowing the rules, not knowing etiquette. He promptly went into the locker room. and was welcomed back there because certain people knew that he was my son. And to me, that's quite flattering to know that my name still carries that much weight to where someone who someone could perceive as a perfect stranger in their locker room was welcomed because of my name alone. And I did hear some discrepancies with my son. He was drinking, which chip off the old block, right? But when he came home, I had a talk with him, and I told him, I said, look, son, whether you realize this or not, you are an extension of me when you go to these shows, especially when you put yourself in the locker room. And after our little talk, he understood what I was talking about, because at that point in time, he is no longer his own name. He is Levi's kid, and he gets that now. So, to all the roster members of All Class Wrestling, to G Money, to DBA, to Verdi, to Nick Zero, to all the guys that put their arm around Hunter and welcomed him into that locker room, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for showing him generosity, kindness, and compassion, and most importantly, inclusion into your world. Because now I think he's starting to come back around to the idea that he might possibly want to get into the ring, which I think would be great for him, because it'll help him build that confidence that I feel like he could use some. And, I can't thank the roster enough for doing that for him. And without me even, asking them to do it, you guys did it on your own. And that tells me what kind of professionals you are and how you hold old school values to heart. I mean, to welcome him in as a legacy, so to speak, speaks volumes, especially when you didn't even know who he was. So thank you, guys. Thank you for welcoming him in, not taking a shot or two at him for being an outsider in the locker room. Thank you for taking care of him. Thank you for looking out for him. And I just appreciate each and every one of you for doing that for me. Couple quick notes. This coming up weekend, what would that be? Would it be the 19th and the 20th? Let me take a look here. I don't know. If you are interested, if you come out to Holly, Michigan, on the 20th and 21st of this month, the wife has decided to pillage my room, decided to pillage my stash, and she's going to have a garage sale. If you want to know where this garage sale's at, you can message me directly through my Facebook, or if you know my personal page, even better. I would rather give you my personal address through my personal page if you're a friend of mine. If I don't know who you are, if you're some creeper and you want my address, I'm sorry, you're not going to get it from me. I don't care how much money I want to make from this garage sale, because coming up in October, the 1st through the 3rd, I will be going to the Charles W. Howard School for Santa, and I will be enjoying that. July 19th at Holly Lanes on Grange Hall Road, I'm putting together a fundraiser for my most favorite charity in the world. It's called the Shop with a Cop program, and it's hosted by the Village of Holly Police Department here in my little town of Holly. If you don't know what Shop with a Cop is, they pick families who are underprivileged, and they take their children to Walmart, and they allow these children to buy their own Christmas gifts. Now, I've teamed up with Brian Abishon and Holly Lanes, and we are going to put on a Christmas in July event, where it's going to be yours truly, Santa Claus, against Buddy the Elf. And we're going to be doing a fundraiser, which is going to include raffles and pictures and bowling and pizza and drinks. And it's going to be a good time. I'll be putting the information out on both the Levi Blue and the Sorry Pal podcast page. I would love for each and every one of you to join me there. I know a lot of you haven't seen me in my Santa Claus gear, but I love being Santa Claus, man. I was just talking to Nick Zero, and I was telling him how, when my wife and I would go on vacation, whether it was in the state of Michigan, Ohio, Alabama, People would recognize me as Levi Blue, and she hated it. She's like, I can't take you nowhere. But now that she's my Mrs. Claus and she goes with me, when it was, me as Levi Blue, we'll get into the Mrs. Claus thing here in a minute, she was always referred to as Levi's wife. Because, and I'll discuss this here in this episode in a minute, I kept the kayfabe so well that a lot of people did not know that Levi Blue was married. I didn't want people to know that Levi Blue was married. I didn't want people to know that Levi Blue had children. Why? Because I was protecting them, and I was protecting my business. I was protecting the commodity that was Levi Blue, because if people thought that Levi Blue was available, especially when it came to women, that, they would buy more of my gear and my swag, my merchandise. I could think of one story in particular. My wife and I was wrestling for Thunder Zone Wrestling. I believe it was in the Livonia Mall. I was teaming with a guy by the name of Mojo, and we were doing what nowadays would be considered a controversial gimmick called the Fraternal Association of Grappling Superstars. Take the first letter of that and you'll get the gist of what the gimmick was. And we would come down to the ring, and we would come down to Macho Man by the Village People. Well, people loved us. We were over as baby faces. Especially in the late 90s, that was unheard of, doing the type of gimmick that we were doing. And we come down to the ring, and people would be up on their feet, and they would be dancing, and they would be singing. And we come around the ring, and this woman, I gotta admit, she was kind of a good-looking woman. Even then, I was doing the sucker gimmick. She pulled the sucker out of my mouth, put it into hers, and continued to dance with me. Unbeknownst to her, she was sitting next to my wife at the time, who was staring daggers at her. When the woman sat down, she looked over at my wife, and she goes, "Oh, is that your boyfriend?" And my wife's like, "No, that was my husband." And yeah, talk about an uncomfortable situation for that poor lady. But that was one of the reasons why I never divulged that I was married. Well, as I was going to talk about, now that we're doing Santa and Mrs. Claus, when we go out, people do call us Santa and Mrs. Claus. And my wife loves it because now she has her own identity, so to speak. She's Mrs. Claus. She loves it when she gets recognized. So now she knows what it's like when you're recognized out in public in a persona that you are not doing in your everyday life. And it's kind of nice to know that you have some kind of reach. And knowing that Levi Blue had reach after almost 25 years to go into a very fresh promotion in all-class independent wrestling, and them to take care of my son, because as I said, he is an extension of me, screams volumes, screams absolute volumes. And I'm so humbled and honored, and I love each and every one of you guys for taking care of him for me. I know I already talked about it, but I gotta go back to it. I appreciate you guys so much. Let me think here. I've talked about the garage sale coming up. Like I said, more information, message me on Levi Blue. But if you know my shoot name, message me there. I'd rather that, because I don't want to give my address to complete strangers. And number two, I talked about the fundraiser for the Shop of the Cop program. Again, that's going to be July 19th. More details are yet to be revealed. You can keep checking on the Levi Blue page, the Santa Levi page, the Sorry Pal podcast page, or my shoot name page. Again, if you know my shoot name, then come find me there. I really don't have a whole lot to talk about in the world of professional wrestling. Charlie Pierce is still doing her thing, if you're watching that. And apparently she got booked somewhere, which is crazy to me. I get it. She's getting tons of views. She's getting tons of likes and shares. There's one gal on there. Her name's Electric Current on Facebook, who is sharing her stuff for her. But as she's doing so, I think Electric Current is trying to shed the light on the fact that Charlie, accused Shane Mercer of rape, and really wants, for all intents and purposes, Charlie Pierce to go away. But what she's doing, what Elektra is doing is she's actually drawing more attention onto Charlie. And Charlie loves attention, boy. I mean, she loves attention. And even though Elektra's trying to do the right thing and trying to run her out of the business and trying to just run her off of social media in general, all she's doing is putting more eyes on Charlie Pierce. And it is some of the wildest stuff you're ever going to listen to in your life. I mean, I implore you, if you got nothing to do and you aren't, 2 seconds away from crazy, you need to listen to some of these rants that Charlie's going on. I tried to give her a piece of advice, and I know I said I wasn't going to talk about her on here, but holy cow. It's kind of hard not to, and that's the only thing that you're seeing on your feed on Facebook. I really hope this promoter really reconsiders putting her on any card. I mean, if he is a legitimate promoter, who knows? He could just be another creeper wanting to, oh, I believe in you, Charlie. Oh, we should talk about this, Charlie. Oh, maybe you should come over to my house, Charlie. And we know where that leads to. So, yeah, Elektra, I mean, God bless you. You're doing the Lord's work, but at the same time, the devil's doing you dirty, and you're focusing more eyes on Charlie than what needs to be. All right. With that out the way, Sean Q-Ball Sisk in the Q Show. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know why no more shows have dropped. Probably because there hasn't been any soup to serve. And so Sean's been pretty quiet here. I haven't gotten a commercial from him yet. We haven't heard another show from him yet. So we'll have to stay tuned and see what's going on in the world of the Q Show, because it's been awful quiet on that side of the world. But if you haven't listened to his other episodes, give them a listen. They're definitely worth listening to. Went and saw Masters of the Universe. Man, I absolutely love that movie. But then today I went and saw Scary Movie 6. Alright, let me rephrase that. I went and saw 20 minutes of Scary Movie 6 today. I couldn't take it, man. The Wayans brothers need to be ashamed of themselves. I've been trying to figure out how to put into words how I'm feeling about this movie. But it was almost like the Wayans brothers hate not only their own culture, but cultures in general. I couldn't believe the characters that they came up with, who were just like super elevated ghetto characters. And man, I don't know, it's almost like self-loathing your own culture. It absolutely disgusted me. Not only was he making jokes obviously about white folks, but black folks as well. And I can't believe there isn't a bigger uproar about this movie. I heard the N-word more times than I ever have here in the last 4 or 5 years. And the P-word, holy biscuits and gravy. And if you're wondering what that P-word is, Gary Busey with a P, okay? I walked out after 20 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I paid my hard-earned money to go see a movie. 20 minutes later, I come walking out. I looked at the guy at the concession stand. I says, look, we were the only two in that movie. I says, we didn't dirty it up in there. If you need to go clean the theater, now would be a good time, because there's no one else in there. And we walked out. I haven't walked out of a movie since Kung Pao back in 2002 with Steve Odekirk. And so it's been 24 years since I've walked out of a movie. It was I'm telling you what, I am surprised that there isn't more of an uproar from the black communities, from the white communities over this movie. I know it's supposed to be tongue-in-cheek humor, but there was nothing humorous about this movie at all. I would feel like there would be members from the LGBTQ plus community, especially with it being Pride Month, who aren't in an uproar over this movie. but I haven't heard nothing. And I don't know if it has to do with reverse racism or what, because the producers and directors are black, because they're famous black people. We're not going to boycott their film because it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. I paid my money. I left without my money, and I'm all done talking about the movie because just like Elektra, I don't want to draw eyes to it because it was that bad. Matter of fact, when I told my son who wants to go see the movie that we wound up walking out of the movie theater, he's like, well, that just makes me want to go and see it even more. I'm like, well, shit. That kind of defeated the purpose of me telling you not to go to it then, doesn't it? But whatever, it is what it is. I know I'm kind of rambling. I really don't have nothing to talk about. I mean, we do got SummerSlam coming up, and they got the event overseas again. Wrestling right now on mainstream television is really boring to me right now. LFG, I've been watching LFG. I absolutely hate that because already most of those characters are already on NXT right now. So you already know that they got their contracts. I was really looking forward to big things from LFG, and it's nothing like I thought it was going to be. I really wish the WWEF, whatever you want to call it, would go back to the Tough Enough videos, because at least then you had a chance to shine a spotlight on your everyday people who want to make it into the business. And I used to really like some of those Tough Enough videos. I remember a few standouts in the back of my head, too. And, Jeff Brooks and Sammy the Bull is absolutely one of them. I'm trying to think of the young girl, 16, 17 years old, who used to wrestle here in Michigan. And she was going to be something special. I'm surprised the WWE didn't take a look at her and, swoop her right up. But something, ladies and gentlemen, if I keep on talking, this episode's just going to get even more drawn out, long, and boring. I did pick up the, what's it called? What is it called? I don't know. It's the WWE WrestleFest machine, the arcade machine. So I'm going to put that together this week. You'll see progression pictures of that on my Facebook page. It's funny about my Levi Blue page right now. I'm getting a lot of notices about video games because I'm putting up modded, like Nintendo 64 cartridges on there. Saturday Night's Main Event, WCW Live, a few other mods that are out there right now that I've actually bought on actual cartridges. And it's really starting to interest people. Kind of makes you wonder why these video game companies aren't re-releasing these games. Like these classic games. I got classic games all over my house. I'm surprised a lot of them didn't wind up in the garage sale. They might. Who knows? But when I get the opportunity and I get this system built, I will post pictures of it. And yes, I know it's missing Sergeant Slaughter and the Legion of Doom, but I will be modding this machine to where I'll have all the original characters back. So there's no worries on that. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to kill this episode a little bit early. Like I said, this is just a random thoughts episode. Nothing going on in my life. I just really want to thank the staff and crew again at All Class Independent Championship Wrestling. I think that's what their full name is. Really want to thank G Money, Nick Zero, the DBA, Dread King Logan for taking my son, taking care of him. Really want to thank each and every listener who tunes in every week for the Sorry Pal podcast. I'm sorry this is not a long episode. I'm sorry I didn't have nothing controversial to say this time. I like it when it's like this, though, because life is good. I can just get random shit off my mind and, get your thoughts. Speaking of which, I know I said I wasn't going to do this. What did you guys think of the Ask Me Anything episode? Should I do more of those? Should we go more in depth when it comes to, advice when it comes to wrestling and life? Maybe I should switch the show up a little bit. I don't know. You tell me. Again, I'm not asking you to like, share, and subscribe. I'm just asking for a little bit of feedback. Just a little bit. So, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, have the day you deserve, and sorry, pal. Not so sorry. Later.
Sorry, pal. Not so sorry. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got an angle. Everybody's got something to say until it's time to tell the truth. I hear the whispers when I walk in the room. Smiles on faces, but they're singing my doom. Talking real loud when my back's turned away. Funny how the truth makes the cowards all pray. I've been the villain, I've been the clown. Been counted out, still held my ground. Everybody's righteous when they're online, but skeletons dance when the lights don't shine. Tell me who's the saint, tell me who's the sinner. Everybody wants the spotlight, everybody wants a winner. Liar, liar, pants on fire. You sold your soul just to climb a little higher. Liar, liar, can't get much lower. Truth comes out when the flames get closer. Sorry, pal, I'm not buying what you sell. Sorry, pal, go save somebody else. You wanted honesty? Here it is. Ask me anything, I don't duck smoke. Life ain't a meme and this ain't a joke. From the ring ropes down to the North Pole, I paid my dues and protected my soul. Made mistakes, yeah, more than a few. Still stood tall when the rumors all grew. I don't need your likes, I don't need applause. I survived the consequence of my own flaw. Liar, 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 liar. Pants on fire. Pants on fire! Point your fingers, cast your stones. Truth is different when it hits your home. I won't bend, I won't break. I've lived with every choice I've had to make. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Burning down another self-made empire. Liar, liar, now the mask is torn. You can't play the victim when the monster's worn. Sorry, pal, no apologies tonight. Sorry, pal, you don't get to rewrite. Liar. 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 Pants on fire. You asked for the truth. Don't blame me when it answers back.